The Chicago City Council narrowly approving Mayor Brandon Johnson's 2025 budget, including a controversial $40 million short-term loan for a city already swimming in debt, all part of a chaotic meeting where residents slammed the mayor.
You caused all this money to go to illegal immigrants. Anything that you all pass is not genuine.
You have not protected the people of Chicago from invasion.
He wants to pour a $40 million line of credit and put the city in even more debt. It's your fault that because you gave half the money to illegals.
Chicago reporter William Kelly joins me now. William, you were inside that budget vote. How embarrassing was this for Mayor Brandon Johnson, even with the budget ultimately passing?
Even after it passed, nobody applauded, Todd. As a lifelong Chicagoan, I love Chicago with all my heart. I'm not a Chicago basher, and I love those people. It brings tears to my eyes, Todd, who came to Chicago City Hall week after week. It took 4 times for this budget to finally pass. $17 billion. These real Chicagoans, they made their voices heard. They made it clear they don't trust Brandon Johnson, Mayor Johnson, with 50 cents. Okay, they know he's just going to spend that money on migrants and violent teenagers. Brandon Johnson says it himself, Todd.
You've been coming on this show for years. Your passion for the Windy City is definitely noted during each appearance. You mentioned the migrant. Brandon Johnson, under his tutelage, under his leadership, Chicago has spent $527 million taxpayer dollars on migrants. So my question for you, William, would Mayor Johnson have had an easier time passing a budget if, he didn't spend so much money for illegal migrants at the expense of tax-paying city residents?
Well, that was almost to the penny the amount that Mayor Johnson wanted to raise property taxes on the real people of Chicago. Thankfully, I had the opportunity to call it out as a migrant tax, which motivated people to come to Chicago City Hall and literally shout at the mayor, which I guess is what was necessary. But yet Mayor Johnson still got the votes from his friends and allies in the Chicago City Council. The vice mayor, here's an example of where we're at in Chicago right now, okay, Todd? The vice mayor, a guy named Alderman Burnett, convicted of bank robbery, okay, of armed robbery, spent time in jail. He's a Chicago City alderman. He's getting paid, in addition to his aldermanic salary, for almost $500,000, okay, to be vice mayor, which essentially has absolutely no duties or responsibilities other than waiting to possibly become mayor if something were to happen to Mayor Johnson. So in Chicago, if you really, really, really want to rip off the people of Chicago, don't rob a bank, become an alderman.
That's wild. That is a wild story you just told us. The vote got so heated, the mayor basically cleared out the room, said he didn't want the citizens there. This is their city. They get an opportunity to weigh in on this, and the mayor said, get out. Has Chicago finally reached the tipping point that so many cities and towns, and quite frankly, the United States of America reached in November with the vote, that they're finally going to vote out the Mayor Johnsons, the Mayor Lightfoots, and bring some sanity back to Chicago?
Well, it's an old joke, Todd. Is Chicago ready for reform? And the fact is that it might just be, because we see this money going to migrants. I did some math myself, okay? Mayor Johnson has 100+ staffers. They're all making 6 figures. Many of them have become notorious as a result of, at William J. Kelly on X, videos where I literally have to chase them down the hallways of City Hall to talk to them. One of them in particular, Kennedy Barkley, is famous for saying F the pigs, okay? This is what I guess her number one qualification for becoming a Mayor Johnson staffer, okay? 100+ staffers, wow. 6 figures apiece, adds up to millions upon millions of dollars out of the pockets of real Chicagoans. Yeah, I think it might be, Chicagoans might be ready for some real change some real reform, Todd.
Yeah, and despite everything you just said, the mayor wants to pay for all that, pay for the migrants, pay for those ridiculous salaries by raising taxes on property. That is wild. William J. Kelly, thank you. Glad that didn't pass for the people of Chicago. They need a break.
And I'm Trace Gallagher in for John Roberts. This is America Report. Sandra, as you noted there, Madison, Wisconsin, this is the Abundant Life Christian School. We are getting word that there was a school shooter. We do not know anything about who this person might be. Is it a student? Is it somebody else? All that information is still just coming into us now. But as Harris was saying there, this school is K through 12. It is a Christian school. It serves about 50 different churches in the Madison area, and the student count there at the school, again, about 390, maybe 400 students there, Sandra. So police are kind of an all-hands-on-deck situation here, and we will be waiting to find out exactly where this happened. But right now, you could imagine that police are going from building to building, from room to room, closet to closet, trying to find anything they can with evidence that might lead them to what exactly happened in the last hour and maybe 15 minutes in this school in Madison, Wisconsin.
All right, Trace. So there's a statement from the Madison Fire Department right now. They are saying they're investigating a shooting at Abundant Life Christian School. Please avoid the area. Obviously, these are for more local people that could be listening. Roads are blocked off around the school. Drivers and community members are asked to find alternate routes. Obviously, that reunification announcement would probably be going out to parents at this time. So many schools around the country have been practicing such events. We're trying to get details on this shooter. There's no immediate word on who carried out this shooting, and we have yet to hear about a news conference announced. But as sometimes happens, we should be getting one shortly where we will learn more. Chief Correspondent Jonathan Hutt is on this for us. Jonathan, what do we know right now?
Well, Sandra, let me update you on that. First of all, we've just been told by the Madison Police Department that there will be some kind of update. We're not sure whether it will be in the form of a news conference, but they have told us directly that there will be what they call a press update at 12:15 Central Time. So in just about 12 and a half minutes from now, they say. Obviously, that is movable because obviously this is, as the police have said in Madison, an active and ongoing investigation. All we know right now for sure is that there has been a shooting at the Abundant Life Christian School. There are multiple injuries, we are told. We don't know the extent of those injuries. We don't know anything, as you pointed out, about the shooter. There has been one report from another media outlet saying that Madison police have told them that the shooter is, quote, down. We have not confirmed that information, so we do not know whether the shooter is down or not. All the police have said in their official statement is that it remains an active and ongoing investigation. And obviously in the early going here, as Trace was rightly pointing out, it is very active indeed. You've got parents, obviously. This is a K through 12 school, so a lot of parents rushing to that school, absolutely terrified right now. You've got police closing off all the streets around it, and you have police obviously going room to room in that school to check on every student and member of staff that they can find. So a very active investigation, but we are due to get an update, we are told by Madison Police, in just about 11 minutes from now, Sandra.
You know, and Jonathan, it's Trace. I just want to kind of point out here, because we really don't know very much about this whole thing at all, but we know enough going back some 30 years that we have covered enough of these to know that these are now kind of standard operating procedure things. We've been looking at the outside, Jonathan, of the school there, and what I haven't noticed is I haven't noticed any students being let out or students being released. And of course, as we have learned over the years, when these things happen, everybody, students, teachers, everybody is initially considered a suspect. You leave your backpacks, you leave everything, and when they get you out of the school, you go one by one with your hands up as you come out. And I'm wondering at this point, Jonathan, if we know anything about police being inside the school, or are they setting up a perimeter or are we learning anything about the actual police process here?
Nothing actually confirmed, Trace, but talking of watching these things over 30 years and seeing how police training in these instances has evolved over the last few decades, the standard practice here would be to get inside that school as quickly as possible, if indeed the shooting was happening inside the school rather than just outside. At the moment, we don't even know that for sure, but if it was happening inside the classroom or any other parts of that building, the standard operating procedure would be to get in there as quickly as they can. You talk about what we're seeing on screen as well, Trace, and I think it is worth noting. Now, we're obviously not seeing every angle here. The media is being staged at one particular point, but what I haven't seen any pictures of are SWAT teams, active SWAT teams going into the building right now. That might indicate that they do believe the situation is under control. That doesn't necessarily tell us whether or not, as one reporter said, the shooter is down, but you're not seeing the sort of intense activity that we might be seeing if they were at this moment in time trying to find that shooter. It's obviously, again, I want to emphasize here, we're only seeing a couple of camera angles, but that's an impression I get, Trace, as we watch these things and from, the experience that we've had over so many of these tragic incidents.
Jonathan, we'll get back to you as you get more information. We're also waiting that police update should be happening hopefully about 8 or 9 minutes from now. We'll get more information.